advantage. I think you can build more successful businesses purely based on following a path of greater integrity and honesty and openness and better communication and long-termness, because I think poor integrity comes from short-term thinking. Like, I'm just gonna kind of wiggle around this issue and not mention this issue, and then I'm going to be fine. Whereas in the long term, so this idea of building a brand, if you can call it that, your brand, for the long term, I think is an unbelievably powerful business tool. And I mean, you could say, well, you know, people are either honest or they're not honest, but I think there are decision points that one can make, and particularly again in the mentorship environment, just encourage the people we're working with to do things right, to do things properly, and to take the short-term pain for the long-term benefit. Humility around the fact that actually I'm not perfect. You know, my business is not perfect. Even to your customers, you know, I'm not going to deliver as much as I'd like to. I mean, we're going to get it wrong at times. We used to, if I reflect back to my Kalula days, I remember like the big complaints would land on my desk, and I actually started enjoying dealing with them, because the first thing, you would have somebody like really angry, shouting, I was delayed and I couldn't get to my meeting, blah 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 blah. And I would just start off by saying, we're really, really sorry. And once you said that, all the tension was diffused. You could have a conversation, and it was basically done. Obviously, in today's environment, the dissemination of information, the access to information, and the platforms that one can use to share experiences, the experiences they've had with you, it's pervasive. So it's out there, and it will be out there. I'm not saying social media is going to be your only marketing strategy, but it's a very powerful one if you have the reputation and the delivery to back up what you're doing. It's a very, very powerful. I would always start there as your marketing platform, and then from there you can make promises on other channels and pay for media, etc. Now, I would be worried if a business was technically driven, particularly a new business, because a new business, I think, it needs that entrepreneurial energy, and it's about changing and agile and selling, and so. But that's the beauty, and I suppose partly the mystery of business, because you have like this conceptual, creative requirement, entrepreneurial requirement, but you also have this rigor, this technical capability that's got to be built, and the magic is that they can be brought together. Is it that same person that can do both? Probably very, very rarely, and therefore it's the coming together of a team over time that can nurture both of those elements. And so there's like a lot of clever product ideas out there and business ideas, but the distribution, how am I going to get this thing into the hands of customers using other forces, because the direct, particularly in the South African context, and the direct distribution strategy is very difficult and often flawed, and so many times that next level, whatever it is going to get lots more customers. It's not. I don't think it's about changing the product fundamentally, because they got to level one with the product. Now they've got to get it out there. It's that distribution challenge, which is a big challenge. It comes back to the point I was making about big companies generally controlling. Think about retail, for example. We've spoken to a lot of very interesting product companies. But the retail distribution challenges and the incumbent incumbent's control of the retail channel, the distributors, the logistics companies, the merchandising in the stores is very, very difficult. So I would probe, talking about the next level of distribution, how you're going to access those broader customers. Firstly, I think mentorship I see it's partly a program of mentors and people, but it's also partly a mindset in terms of the people. It's a leadership mindset with the people that you're connected to. So it could be people that, in my case, it's people that I work with, mentoring them in some way every day, and then it's people externally that that I would assist. My personal approach is one of understanding and support, and more of honesty. And I definitely have evolved to a more frank person in terms of how I discuss things with people, and less of trying to just be nice about things. And that's a key learning for me as a mentor. It's just you're doing people a favour by being honest with your feedback. Now I think there's ways of doing that. If you're rude or nasty about it, I think you can harm people. And but if your intention is to genuinely say something, the way you've dealt with that situation or the way you're thinking about this isn't right. And here's have you considered this? The other trap that I kind of avoid is blatant opinions on stuff, purely because my opinion may well be wrong. I've got experience, we've all got experience, but we may not understand the issue that this person has properly. So I think guidance in that context is, I find, much more useful in terms of helping them come to conclusions that they need to come to. I think that's a very powerful thing. If you can lead somebody towards and people generally can, if they guide them correctly, come to the right conclusion, and let them come to that conclusion. So those are my learnings, and I prefer to operate in that space than a space that says, well, I'm going to help you with your financial model. There's other people that can do that much better. So I would also acknowledge my own strengths and weaknesses as a mentor, and saying, listen, somebody else will do a better job with that particular thing that you need help. Does that help?
Yeah.
What that comes to mind is in the decision-making process to try and create some flexibility and almost optionality in the decisions. So in other words, I was just talking to a colleague this morning who's involved in an insurance startup business in the context of hiring people. So now we're at the point of hiring really the first two staff. And we don't know, firstly we don't know if they're going to be the right people. We don't know if they are going to, if their roles are going to change over time. So the decision was let's basically just take these people on contract for a while and not commit fully. So the point is, I think the more you can de-risk your decisions and not go firm on something, because you just don't know. One of the biggest risks I think that entrepreneurs have to take is obviously financial risk and personal financial risk, which makes entrepreneurship extremely difficult, because not only do you have the pressure of the business and the business succeeding failure, but you have the pressure of your family or your so that the one thing that I think that I encourage people to do, again, it's not always practical or relevant to them, but is to try and build up some kind of a retainer base. Maybe they're doing consulting work, maybe they're actually employed in an organization and they're earning a salary and they've got this idea. So do both. Do the work on weekends, because if you really want to do this, then work nights and weekends and get this thing to a point that you're at the base level and you don't have to worry about that. So I think to just be too binary about drop everything, risk everything. Yes, there are the great stories of guys doing that, and there's exceptional people that will do that well. But for the mainstream entrepreneur, I think they need to ideally have some kind of a backup. Listen, what we don't like to see is people struggling financially, because I think it's just incongruent with building a business where you're just worrying about your bond, and it's just. So it's really not, I don't think it's an ideal scenario. Maybe it sounds glamorous that you haven't got food on the table and then you miraculously, but I don't think, so we definitely prefer to see people not struggle. So, but now having said that, they have to get to a point I think on their own,
Yeah, so
with
what
their
is
own
that
resources.
point? Yeah.
So what is that? I think there's a point of proof. Now for us and for other funders it might be very, very different. But I think that there's a point, and even if it's a conceptual business that doesn't have any revenue or customers, it's still they've got to get it to a point somehow, using very little money, working on weekends, using friends and family. That in itself indicates to us that these people are creative and resilient and entrepreneurial, because that's what entrepreneurs do. You've never got enough resources. I've never had enough resources. I can always do with more. I can always have another person. I can always have more money to buy more things. I think there's always businesses will always have constraint, capital, resource constraint. So the question is how you deal with the constraint. So I think entrepreneurs need to prove, and we need to encourage them to prove on their own without saying, I'm at the point now that it's all about money. He makes that point. It's the money thing. And again, it's the psyche that's been created, and that particularly in this country around, it's all about the big stuff and the money, and the money unlocks everything. It doesn't. I mean, that's why this mentorship thing is magical, because this really does unlock stuff. But money is important, not to say that it's obviously a critical part of a business's evolution, but at the right. Okay, we've got 3 funds. So the 2 of them are brand new. So our main fund is a growth fund. That's the one that's been going for a few years. So it's growth capital. So that's an existing business. It's not industry specific, although we've been focused in the hospitality industry. That was I mentioned of restaurants and others. So that's for growth capital. It's an existing business that wants to grow and roll up more stores or expand more of what they've got. And then we've got a technology-oriented fund, which we've just started, so that will be earlier stage with some kind of technology component to the business. And then we have a hotel fund, which is very different and much more around property, but and less around entrepreneurs. That's more just about because being in Cape Town, I've learned, and to be Jewish, you have to be a shopper.